Okay, what's good, everyone? It's Nigel here, Trinidad Empowerment Network. So I laid off this topic deliberately. Because I wanted to have a firm grasp of this situation before I brought it to you. So let me get into this. Let me ask you this question. Out of all the countries in the world, why did the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, single out Trinidad and Tobago? He could have picked Mexico. He could have picked Brazil. He could have picked St. Lucia, Barbados, Argentina, Great Britain, Canada. Why did he single out Trinidad and Tobago? He chose us. And what he said wasn't exactly positive, as you know. He painted Trinidad as unsafe. He painted Trinidad as dangerous. Now, whether you agree or disagree, the question still stands. Why did he choose Trinidad and Tobago? Now, that doesn't happen by accident. That does not happen by accident. That happens because Trinidad is clearly on his mind. And clearly not in a positive way. So, for those of you who haven't seen the video, and most of you would have by now, I assume, here is exactly what he said whilst standing in Washington, D.C., next to military troops. That's quite significant. While standing next to military troops, here is what he said. Here is the shortened version for those of you who've seen it already. Roll the clip.
But I think that's a very worthwhile trade to make because we want our people to be able to enjoy our beautiful cities. And the last thing I'll say is to the American people, D.C. is already safer than it was 9 days ago, but we're going to make it safer still to come. This is your city. You should feel free to come and visit here, have a meal, see all these incredible monuments, and actually enjoy yourself. And that's what we're trying to make happen. And I think that if we set a standard in Washington, D.C., that political willpower can bring some common sense, law and order back to these communities, then maybe some other communities and other cities will follow suit. So it's kind of crazy. You hear these guys outside. They appear to hate the idea that Americans can enjoy their communities, and they do the fact that D.C. a week ago had a higher murder rate than Trinidad and Tobago, which the United States State Department has said you shouldn't visit because it's unsafe. We ought to be able to enjoy great American cities. That's what we're trying to do in the Trump administration.
Now, you heard what he said, and that clearly was not a slip of the tongue. That was deliberate. He used our name to sell a story to the American public about crime and security. Not that there isn't enough negativity about Trinidad as it is. He used the bully pulpit, as they call it in America, to talk about Trinidad in the most negative way. But the real story here wasn't about us. The real story here was about justifying power at home and abroad. That is the real story here. He is peddling and justifying America's power at home and abroad. Hear me out here. Look at the timeline. In April, Donald Trump scrapped the Dragon's gas deal, cutting off a major energy lifeline for Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. That was the first sign we were in their sights. By August, as we've seen, Vance drags Trinidad's name into a speech about crime. Even as the United States deploys 3 warships off the coast of Venezuela, to which, by the way, in response, Maduro has mobilized over 4 million militia members. 4 million militia members. Because he believes, in Maduro's mind, he believes the US is preparing for what they have continuously done across the world for decades: regime change. The US is preparing for regime change. By the way, Maduro is the democratically elected leader of Venezuela. So you all think, or you think, or you may think this is coincidence. And I'm here to tell you it's not. There's a chain of events here. And Trinidad is caught right in the middle. This isn't positive in any way, shape, or form. And by the end of this video, if you stay to the end, you would understand exactly why. So even our own newspapers are connecting the dots. They wrote, or one newspaper I read, they wrote that Donald Trump's April decision to squash the Dragon's gas deal hinted that Trinidad was in his line of sight. J.D. Vance's attack on our crime situation confirms that we are in the Oval Office's orbit. I'm not saying that America is particularly concerned about Trinidad or anything like that. We are collateral to them, let's face it. So, in translation, Trinidad is no longer on neutral ground here. We are being pulled into a geopolitical tug of war. We are no longer on neutral ground. We are clearly being pulled into a geopolitical tug of war between who? Venezuela and the United States. This will all make sense to you in a minute. So yes, whilst our crime problem is serious in Trinidad and Tobago, we all know this, homicides are actually down by 36% this year. So far, 36% decline in homicides in Trinidad this year. Washington, D.C., their murder rate has seen a 30-year low. So why pick Trinidad as the example? Why pick Trinidad out of all the countries? Why pick Trinidad as the example? This is where I'm connecting the dots here. Because crime is just a cover story here. It's just a cover story. The real game is what, and you may have guessed it by now, is oil and gas. The real game is oil and gas and leverage over Venezuela and the Maduro presidency. This is what this is about. Do not be fooled. Do not be told or advised otherwise. Now, here is where it gets even worse for us in Trinidad, as we expected, as I expected. Our own Prime Minister just threw her full support behind who? The United States. Behind who? Donald Trump. That should come as no surprise to 10 viewers. That should come as no surprise to you. Our Prime Minister called it a war on the terrorist drug cartels. Just the same thing America's peddling, the same nonsense America's peddling. She said only criminals should be worried. She even dismissed critics as having what? Trump derangement syndrome. Talk about a direct lift from the Donald Trump playbook. One could only wish that was the case. One could only wish this was about drugs. We wish. So let's pause. The United States cancels our Jaggers gas project. They send warship to our backyard and they openly label our neighbor, Venezuela, as a narco-terror state. And our leader says this is about drugs. not oil and gas. How naive is that? How reckless is that? This is a terrible look for a small country like ours. Because Venezuela, like it or not, isn't some far away place. We cannot separate ourselves in geography from Venezuela. It's our sovereign neighbor. Whatever happens there affects us directly, whether it be through trade, whether it be through migration, or whether it be through security. They are our sovereign neighbor, whether we like them or not. So when our PM, when our Prime Minister says she will even give the US access to our territory if Maduro attacks Guyana, that is not neutrality. That's lining up on one side of the American war game. We are lined up, we are firmly aligned ourselves on one side of America's war game. This is where we are right now. This is where we are right now, and this is dangerous. So here's the truth. Here is the truth. Washington simply sees Trinidad and Tobago as collateral. They see us as collateral in their feud with Venezuela. Washington, America, Donald Trump is only interested in the natural resources Venezuela produce, of which there is many, or there are many. Caracas already pushes propaganda, by the way, accusing Trinidad of plotting against them. They're already accusing Trinidad of plotting against them. It's happened numerous times in the past this year. So we are caught in the middle of this feud. And now our own government is openly siding with Washington without even consulting CARICOM. We've seen Mia Mottley ask to de-escalate, ask for us to consult CARICOM. Our Prime Minister isn't interested. She is not interested. This is not positive news. This is not positive news for Trinidad and Tobago. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. So what do we do? What do we do? Now, for those of you who subscribe to 10, you've heard me reiterate and talk about this over and over again to the point where I bore myself talking about it. But until I see it happening, I will keep talking about it. We must diversify our trading partners. So one country's decision cannot choke us into submission. We are supposed to be a sovereign nation. We are not. We are dictated to by the United States. We must push CARICOM to stand united as a zone of peace, not as staging ground for Washington's wars. We are not a staging ground for Washington wars. We must invest in food and energy security at home, because if the United States shuts off the tap tomorrow, we will feel it immediately and will be drastic. We rely on them so much. It's a national disgrace, because when you step back, it's clear this isn't about cartels. It's about oil, it's about gas, and it's about control. This is all this is. This is all this is. Believe you me. So why did J.D. Vance single out Trinidad and Tobago? Because we are already in their playbook. And judging from what he said, and now what our Prime Minister is echoing, this is not positive news. This is not positive news for Trinidad and Tobago. We are simply seen as collateral. Make no bones about it, make no mistake about this. We are simply seen as collateral in this game. The question is now, do we keep letting others use our name and our territory to play their dirty games? Or do we finally wake up, diversify, and demand respect on our own terms? Well, I think you've seen the decision already made by our Prime Minister. The choice Trinidad and Tobago faces right now appears to already have been made. I wish this was about what the United States says it is about, eliminating the drug trade. But putting warships on the coast of Venezuela, on the coast of Trinidad and Tobago, I can assure you, this is not about what they say it is. This is about oil. This is about gas. This is about regime change in Venezuela, and Trinidad and Tobago are simply collateral. We are simply piggy caught in the middle. And that's it. That is all this is. Nothing else. Nothing else. So let's see how this plays out. Let's see how this transpires. I will keep my ear to the ground. I will report to you as and when I have new information. Stay tuned to Trinidad Empowerment Network. Please like, please subscribe. If I was you, I wouldn't worry about this. I wouldn't worry about this. I think this will eventually de-escalate. We walk with faith anyway. We walk with God. We believe, keep the faith. I believe this will de-escalate eventually. Because if this does go the other way, this will not be good for us. But let's be positive and hope that it will de-escalate. I believe it will. I believe it will. So I wouldn't worry too much about this for those who are. In any case, I'd keep my ear to the ground. I'd report to you as and when this. I have more information, essentially. And I'll see you guys on my next video. For now, much love. Look after each other. Take care. God bless. Peace.